Call the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors meeting to order for January 2nd, 2018. Roll call, Mr. Veeder.
Leyland.
Here.
Little.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
White.
Here.
Magsman.
Here. Take a moment of silence to reflect on actions. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1 is the agenda received as proposed as amended. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 2 is the organizational meeting. It's to be a resolution to elect chair for the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors for the 2018 calendar year.
I make a motion to elect Mr. White as chair.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, this is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Magsman.
Yes. Time for you to move.
Next on the agenda is a resolution to elect a chair pro tem at the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors for 2018.
I nominate Tom Little for Chair Pro Tem.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This is a resolution. Please answer your name is called.
Little.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes.
Magsman.
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Moving on, motion that the standing committees for 2018 year be established.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion that the appointments to the respective boards and committees as representatives of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to authorize the county auditor's office to issue cigarette permits on behalf of the Blackhawk County for 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. This is a resolution that the county auditor be authorized to issue checks payable during 2018 for the following: water, lights, insurance, telephone, salaries, payrolls, as fixed by the Board of Supervisors, postage, court reporters, jury, and witness fees, express, employee criminal history record checks, bank and bond payments and fees.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of the items? This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Magsman.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. This resolution that the following newspapers be designated as the 3 official newspapers for Blackhawk County for 2018. The Courier, LaPorte City Progress, Review, and the Hudson Herald.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This resolution, please answer your name is called.
Little.
Yes.
Magsman.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. This is a motion that the following be appointed as Blackhawk County Department Heads for 2018. Bob Lincoln, County Social Services. Catherine Nicholas, Engineer. And Kim Veeder, Information Technology.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to direct Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer, to close county roads as necessary during 2018 construction season, subject to prior notification to the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. J, motion to direct Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer, to embargo county roads as necessary for the 2018 subject to prior notification. Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to direct the chair to sign this progress vouchers for farm to market payments for 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Resolution to adopt a construction evaluation pursuant to the Iowa Code 459.304.3 regarding proposed confinement feed operations structures.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is a resolution. Please answer your name as called.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Anybody from the public that has anything to address that's not on the agenda? Not seeing anything, we'll move on to claims and payments. This is a resolution that the Board of Supervisors approve expenditures for.
Yes, the total expenditures this week is $216,848.99, 216,848.99. Everything appears to be in order.
Move
To
to.
approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Magsman,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. This is a resolution to approve expenditures for Country View Care Facility.
Country View's expenditures this week total $33,094.85, 33094.85.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Number 5, this is receive project updates from department heads and elected officials.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, County Engineer. About 30% of the roads are snow and ice covered this morning. Our trucks are out sanding at intersections and slick areas. The graders were out over the weekend on the gravel roads, and as were the trucks as well. We're not anticipating much melting today, and then we're also expecting some more snow tonight as well. Can I answer any questions at this time? Thank you.
Any other department heads? Moving on to minutes approved for December 27th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We got 2 hearings, the 905 ordinance number 140, Blackhawk County, Iowa Airport Land Use and Height Overlay Zoning Ordinance, and 907 ordinance number 77-197, rezone request by Harold Bach. Moving on to consent agenda by resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of the items? This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Little,
Yes.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Contracts and agreements. This is a resolution that the lowest reasonable bid received from Aiden Technologies, Farmington, Connecticut, for the setup for SQL server and SharePoint software for Blackhawk County IT with a bid of $2,755 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item?
She here? Okay.
This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. This is a resolution that the lowest reasonable bid received from Aiden Technologies, Farmington, Connecticut, for the setup of the SharePoint knowledge transfer, Blackhawk County IT Department with a bid of $5,700 to be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Bagsman.
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Next is other business, a presentation discussion, the two-year plan for the Secondary Roads Department, presented by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
Chuck, could you please turn on the screen? Several weeks ago, I was asked to present information on our future two-year plan so that those numbers, those projects, and those associated costs could be considered in the upcoming budget cycle. Before I go through the plan, I've given you a PowerPoint of the two-year plan. I wanted to just very briefly show you some information that we can use here at the county to help us make better decisions about which of our roadways should be selected for resurfacing or what type of work we need to do on our roads. So this information comes from the Iowa Department of Transportation, and it's a website that they have put together. Several years ago, they hired a consultant named Pathways, who Pathways has a van that has numerous apparatus on the van who can take photos, as we're seeing up here in the top shot, the top screen here. They can also get profiles of the road, and I just want to very briefly explain to you what type of information we can use. So here we see the road. We can select Shock Road, for example, and we can actually click on the road, and we can actually see a photo of the road, of us traveling down the roadway, for example. I'm not sure why it's not working at the moment here. And then there are other assets. For example, if we come upon a bridge on the road here, or signs, all that information is cataloged, and it's all has GPS locations associated with it. So these are good tools for us to use for asset management of our guardrail system, for example. Sign inventories, we can, as we're driving along here, we can have a GPS coordinate of a sign. Down below here, we can see this is an Esri GIS system that allows us to, when it's working, that allows us to see the blue dot moving to the east or to the west, for example. And then up above, you can see the screenshot of us moving down the roadway. So we can sit here in the office and have a view of what our roads look like. A couple of other bits of information that are available.
When was the photos taken that you would be viewing?
So these
How
were
up to date are they?
these are taken every other year, depending on if you're on the north half of the county or the south half. The north half was taken in 2016. So these are from, I believe, August of 2016. And then they will be taken again in 2018. We also have data from 2014. That was the first year for the northern tiered counties.
So can you do an overlay of the two different years, Kathy, to compare?
Yes,
What-
yes, that's very significant when we're talking about some of the cracking, the distresses that are going on with our pavements, such as the transverse cracking or the longitudinal cracking. We can look at those distresses right here, and if this were a bigger screen, I could move these smaller screens apart, and you'd have a better view.
Kathy, is this software the pictometry that you're using, or is this our GIS?
This is strictly on to the DOT. We
Okay.
access the DOT website, and then we're able to retrieve this information.
That's their own software, isn't it, Kathy?
I believe so. I'm not quite in tune with all the software involved in putting this together. But we also are able to look at a transverse profile. So this would be looking at the transverse profile of the road as this van is traveling down the road. It's collecting data on rutting, and as you know, rutting is a deformation in the asphalt pavement. This can cause hydroplaning when there's wet conditions. It can also be difficult for us to plow snow if there's, ruts of over a half an inch, for example, which we experienced on Dysart Road before we paved that in concrete several years ago. So there's a variety of information, and in the future I'd like to show you more about what we can get out of this database. It's very useful, like you suggested, Craig. If you look at your distresses over a number of years, you can predict when it will be time to resurface those roadways. So moving on to the actual PowerPoint presentation, the 2-year plan. I just wanted to start with the resurfacing projects that we'll be doing this coming season in 2018. The first one's Waverly Road from the Cedar Falls city limits to Janesville city limits. This is just a photo of the roadway. The ride on that road is actually pretty good. It's above average considering our county roads of that age. There are some transverse cracking. It is sitting on old concrete pavement. If you recall, that's old Highway 218. We think it has pretty good drainage. It's very sandy in that portion of the county. We are simply, the existing roadway is 12 feet wide. We will be resurfacing it 12 feet wide. Plus, we will be adding an additional 3 feet of asphalt shoulders. And then we'll be left with 1 foot of granular shoulder. And that traffic currently is about 1,640 vehicles north of the Cedar Falls city limits up to the Cedar Wapsie Road, and then it drops off once you get north of Cedar Wapsie. We will be doing cold in place recycling along that route, and then we'll be placing 3.5 inches of new asphalt, plus that 3-foot shoulder. We do estimate that cost to be $1.6 million, and Janesville has agreed to participate not to exceed $19,000 for their portion. And that's their portion north of Sycamore Road. It's approximately 800 linear feet that they'll be participating in. And we are
Kathy,
paying,
This
yes.
road you said has a reasonably good ride to it today. Why are you selecting it for the resurfacing?
Because it still does have, it's an old road, it's an old asphalt surface. We'd like to do the resurfacing now. If we don't resurface it now, in for example, 5 or 7 years, it could be a lot worse, and we may have to do a more extensive treatment on it. So we'd like to catch it now while we can use the cold in place recycle. We can put 3.5 inches of asphalt on it. We feel like this is the best use of our money at this time for Waverly Road. It's at that age where it needs to be resurfaced.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So we're paying for this primarily with farm to market funds, as well as $450,000 of federal aid funding. This is the next resurfacing for 2018. This is Elk Run Road. It's in a little bit poorer condition than Waverly Road was. It has a lot of cracking. You can see we've crack sealed it over the years. Some of the transverse cracks are cupped, so that that's a very noticeable as the driver is going over the surface of the roadway. The Donald and Elk Run Road intersection, if you've driven through there, you know that has some rutting as you drive through that intersection, especially in the north-south direction, excuse me. We also plan to resurface that intersection at the same time. That was last resurfaced in 2001, so it's a younger pavement, but it does get quite a bit of traffic on it, a lot of truck traffic. As trucks come from down Highway 63 and they're going towards the Northeast Industrial Site, they're taking Dunkerton Road and then coming down on Elk Run Road. So it does have a lot of truck traffic. It does have transverse cracking, edge raveling due to all the truck traffic, as well as the agricultural traffic throughout the year. It's 12-foot lanes now. We're going to keep it 12-foot lanes wide. We will be, as I said, resurfacing through that intersection. We're going to use a stiffer mix, more stout asphalt mix in that intersection. We think we'd like to resurface that intersection. This is what we're planning on telling our contractor. We'd like that work to be done over a weekend so that we're just minimizing when the intersection can be closed, or at least partially closed, to a Saturday or Sunday afternoon is what we're thinking. The City of Waterloo will participate in about a quarter of that intersection work because a quarter of the intersection is in the City of Waterloo. We'll be cold in place recycling that roadway and then paving it again with 3.5 inches of asphalt. The project cost is estimated at $950,000, with Waterloo paying about $15,000. And we'll be using $800,000 of FM money, farm to market money, and then $150 of local construction money. Our last resurfacing project for 2018 is Eldora Road. That's another older road. There is quite a bit more rutting just due to the agricultural traffic over the years. Extensive cracking. Those lanes are only 11 foot wide, and they will remain 11 foot wide with this project. There's not enough asphalt structure on that roadway today, so we will be placing a 1-inch asphalt interlayer over that existing roadway. I think I've told you how we're getting to the point now where we just don't mill and fill, or we just don't place new asphalt on top of old asphalt, because the cracks will come right back through. It will reflect back through within 2 to 4 years. We're trying to treat that existing surface. In this case, we're placing a 1-inch asphalt interlayer, which is a very elastic layer on top of the existing layer, and then we'll place 3.5 inches of asphalt. And that project cost is estimated at $1.1 million, with $600,000 being FM and $550,000 being federal aid money that we've received through Intercog. This is the last resurfacing that we're anticipating in 2018. We're just now beginning design on this project. We may have to carry this over into fiscal year 2019. This portion of Raymond Road was last resurfaced about 40 years ago, so we have resurfaced both the north of Dewar and then south of Dewar, but we've skipped the portion through Dewar. We would like to do some drainage improvements in Dewar, increasing some of the sewer, the runoff pipes through town. We're anticipating that project to be about $650,000. And that is anticipated to be funded to all of it being local construction funding.
What's that mean when you say local construction?
So that is the portion of funding that is paid for with Blackhawk County property taxes, the rural and the basic general fund taxes, the portion that we receive from you. We are anticipating spending that
From that
money.
local option tax that we diverted, or are you talking about?
Yes, some of it's from the local option sales tax, but we also receive a portion of, do you want to explain that, Susan, or?
Well, I think this is just from your secondary road fund is what you're talking about, right, Kathy? Or is it specifically, are you tracking the amount that you get from the rural basic and the general basic? And
It would be some of that. It'd be our secondary road fund.
right. So their secondary road fund, so a portion, I mean, there's the road use taxes and then the transfers that they get from the general basic and the rural.
We are anticipating completing 2 bridge projects this coming season. One of them is a large project over the Cedar River, the West Fork of the Cedar River, just north of the community of Finchford. It's on Finchford Road. That's quite a large structure. Over the years, we've had Chuck Britson do assessments, do the bridge inspections for us. They have told us that the deck is rated poor. It's in poor condition. There's numerous delaminations. in the deck itself where the concrete is coming away from the rebar from the steel. So we're losing some of that structure, the ability to carry the loading that we need to on the structure. So we are anticipating that our contractor, our bridge contractor, will remove the entire deck, and they will remove the guardrail, of course. And they'll be replacing the deck. We have hired Chuck Britson to do those plans. It's a March 2018 letting to the DOT. Funding sources are $760,000 federal aid and $190,000 local construction money. The last bridge project is Gresham Road Bridge replacement that's a gravel road just west of State Route 281. This will be replaced by a bridge that our bridge crew is constructing this winter. They have started that already. You can see some of the poor condition of the structure. Right here, we're looking under the abutment. You can see there's large pieces of concrete that have broken off, both at the water level here and then right under the this stringer. And we are anticipating that this will cost approximately $87,000 of local money. And we will complete this by July 1st. There's a few other projects that we need to do to get ready for the 2019 paving. We have two large box culverts on Cedar Wapsie. We'll be replacing those with our bridge crew. We'll be replacing those at approximate cost of $87,000 each. And that will be local money as well. So I put together the figures of local construction funding, because when we come to the budget in the next few weeks, that's primarily what you'll be focusing on. The federal aid money, we receive that through Intercog, so we work with them to secure that money. And then the FM money, comes to us through the DOT, so we get those numbers every month, so we know what our costs are for FM money. But this is primarily the money that we can budget here at the county. So we're anticipating $1.35 million of local construction money. Moving ahead to the 2019 road projects, we will resurface Marquee Road, Cedar Wapsie, and then the Raymond Road overpass at Interstate 380. Marquee Road, as you know, that's a county line road. It hasn't been resurfaced in a number of years. You can see that we have seal coated it. You can see some of the striations here from our number of years of seal coating it. It is fairly low traffic. The ride quality is poor, though, and it has transverse cracking. We will also place the 1-inch overlayer on this project because there's not enough depth there to do the cold in place recycle. And then we will place 3.5 inches of asphalt. We're estimating it will cost $1 million, and Bremer County will share in those costs about $400,000, and we'll pay about $600,000. If you look at the map, Marquee goes along the county line, and then it comes down to the south where it ties in with State Route 281. So Black Hawk County does have a larger percentage of road, so that's why our cost is higher. We are anticipating spending $1 million of farm to market money. The Cedar Wapsie resurfacing project, that's the portion from the new interchange over to Highway 63. So that is experiencing a lot of traffic. We're waiting to get the traffic counts back from this year's count. We do expect that to have increased. It was last resurfaced in 1995 when the concrete was rubblized, and then we placed 6 inches of asphalt on top of that. It's already 12 feet wide, each lane, with gravel shoulders. You can see the traffic this is one of our highest traffic roads in the county. We will be doing the 4 inches of cold in place recycling, and then we'll be placing 3 to 3.5 inches of asphalt. We do expect to spend $700,000 of farm to market money, and then we have received $600,000 of federal aid money for this project. Okay, the Raymond Road overpass. This is concrete today. If you've driven over this, it's very, very, very rough. Medium to poor quality ride, just due to the deteriorating concrete. We are getting complaints about the rideability, the surface of the overpass. It's difficult for our people to plow just because that concrete is breaking out and spalling. You can see, here's one of the ramps. You can see there's just, the joints are in very poor condition. A lot of spalling is taking place, and it does receive quite a bit of traffic. We are working with the Iowa DOT. They may want us to go further down the ramps than what's in our jurisdiction. Excuse me. They would pay for that portion, but we're still working on perhaps further extending some of the concrete repair or concrete removal. You can see again, there's a lot of cracking, a lot of spalling of the concrete. We're going to take all of this concrete out and place about 6 inches of rock. Then we're going to place some geogrid or geofabric. Then we'll be placing 3 to 5 inches of asphalt on this entire area.
Kathy, what does that geofabric do?
So it stabilizes the, for example, the subbase. If you have heavy trucks on top of, driving on top of your roadway, for example, during construction, it can help you, it spreads out the load over for a greater distance, so that if we have construction traffic driving on top of this native soil, we would place this geogrid down. Then we would put rock on top of it, and it spreads out the load so that our construction traffic isn't sinking into the subgrade, for example. There's been a lot of data and research showing that can really improve the durability, the longevity of your pavement structure, is to go with a geogrid in this type of application. And we've done it on numerous times with our Canfield Road. Our improvement several years ago, we used that extensively, and that was very successful. This, we have received federal aid money of $480,000 from the MPO for this project. And then we'll be matching that with $120,000 of farm to market money. We have several bridge projects in 2019. Of course, the large one being the Cedar-Wapsie River Bridge Replacement Project. I think I've told you quite a bit about that project already, so we've been working with Chef Britzen now, and our IIW is our structural consultant to do the plans for us. We are doing the roadway plans here at the county. Those plans are due to the Iowa DOT in August or September, and then the letting will be, the final plans are due shortly thereafter, and then it will be let in December of this year. Our environmental studies are complete. We're waiting on our Corps of Engineer permit and the Iowa DNR permit. We have been told that we're waiting on the wetland mitigation to know our exact quantity. The favor now is to do wetland mitigation and a wetland bank, so that is the route we are taking. We don't know any of those. We don't have a good estimate of the cost of that yet until we hear back from the Corps of Engineers. This is just a picture showing you one of the columns has some significant cracking associated with it. The project cost is $6.5 to $7.5 million. We'll of course, have a better estimate of that when our consultant can give us the estimate later this year. Right now, we're anticipating approximately $4 million of bonds, $2.5 million of federal aid, and $800,000 of local construction funds. And this may be subject to change. We're working with Susan on these final numbers, and a lot of it depends on the final cost. And a couple of bridge crew bridges. Here's one on Cotter Road between Eastman and Miller Creek Roads. Substructure is rated as poor. It was built in 1890. It was built in 1890, and it was reconstructed in 1976. You can see the condition of this timber pile is very poor. That's not holding up as much load as it needs to. Here's some cracking in the abutment, so it's time to replace this structure. We're anticipating spending approximately $87,000 for our bridge crew to replace that. Here's another similar smaller bridge on Washburn Road. This one's not quite 20 foot long, and we don't know what these foundations are. That's Federal Highways has recommended that if we don't know what the foundations are, that they need to be replaced. We don't know what year it was built even, at least in our records. We can't find that. We know it was widened in 1956, so we're just going to replace it, and then we'll know exactly what the load carrying capacity is, and we'll have a good solid structure there. You can see some concrete spalling towards the water line on the abutment. And then at some point, there was some more iron or steel added to strengthen the beams here. And then one of our miscellaneous projects is just east of the city of Gilbertville on Fenton Road. There's a very large elliptical culvert there. Here's a good photo of it. But that steel, is starting to rot out, and it's been in this condition for a number of years. So we think it's best to just replace that. When it's completely rotted out, it's going to lose its structure, and then it could be susceptible to collapse, for example. That will take place in 2019. And then here are the local road construction funding estimates for 2019. I do have an asterisk here because, again, back to Dewar on Raymond Road, that may go into that may overlap fiscal year 19 and 20. So, 18 and 19. So I'm showing it in both years, but it will most likely at least be partially constructed after July 1st of this coming year. So that's it. Can I answer any questions at this time?
Kathy, thank you for your presentation. I ask that you do this so that not only the board but the public can see what the part of the 5-year plan, concentrating on the first 2 years of it.
Thank you, Kathy. Moving on, motion that the appointment of John D. McNamee as a representative for the Blackhawk County Conservation Board be approved effective January 1st.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. It is now 9:38. This is ordinance number 140, an ordinance adopting the Blackhawk County, Iowa Airport Land Use and Height Overlay Zoning Ordinance. Motion to receive and place on file proof of publication.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to waive the first reading and as notice has been published December 22nd. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to close the hearing after oral or written comments were received and placed on file. Is there any written comments?
No, sir.
It's all yours.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to, I think this may have been in your package, just wanted to pass this out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, basically, this is just a request to adopt the Blackhawk County Airport Land Use and Height Overlay Zoning Ordinance for the protection of public health, safety, and general welfare for the most appropriate use of land to eliminate, prevent, or mitigate against potential airport hazards. The ordinance has essentially already made its way through the Planning and Zoning Commission and was approved on February 24th, 2017. And I'm just going to turn this over to Brian Shune with Intercog. Intercog's the one that drafted this ordinance, and he can kind of probably better address your questions than probably what I could. So.
Morning, Brian Schoen with the Intercog office. As Seth has given you a little bit of background, also gave you a handout, I think that was in your packet. It's two-sided. There's a chronological view on the one side that kind of gets you to today. As Seth had indicated, we've worked our way through the Planning and Zoning Commission of the county, but we've also been working with the other 3 jurisdictions to move it forward. Long and short is the DOT is the overseer of airports in the state of Iowa. They hired an airport engineering firm to help develop template documents, ordinances, and a manual that helped us then put this together. We use that manual. We've been working with staff prior to planning commissions preparing drafts, and then moved the ordinances then through the various jurisdictions. So we're working with the cities of Cedar Falls, Waterloo, and Blackhawk County. We in essence have to have mirror ordinances in all 3 jurisdictions. And what we do is we ask that the zoning officials, or the zoning administrator in this case, Seth, and staff, Tim over at the city who you contract with, to go ahead and administer the ordinance as requests come forward. It is an overlay. First off, it is a little like a floodplain ordinance in so much as that all the other regulations remain in place. It is a replacement ordinance. You've got an ordinance on the books that I think was first adopted in the late 1950s. So we've got some date. Obviously, there's been a significant amount of update, just like everything else, in that length of time between the 50s and now. And I'm sure you've had updated ordinances in your code of ordinances as we move forward. But be that as it may, the ordinance follows a pretty typical format. When you look through it, there's a preamble. There are a series of definitions which are fairly technical. And then as you work your way through the ordinance itself, you'll see that that there are a series of tables, tables 1, 2, and 3. They are in essence the heart of the ordinance itself. The first table then defines the areas around the airport. Again, we're just talking about the Waterloo Airport, but it just defines the polygons, if you will, the colors on the map. Those dimensions, those standards then are given to us by the FAA, and we've mapped them on the map that you see in front of you and had in your draft. Those will be turned over electronically, obviously, to the county to place on your GIS system and make it hopefully a little bit easier for people to look at. The tables, back to the tables, they do define those polygons or the colors off the ends of the runways. You might imagine we're trying to protect the ends of the runways. We're also trying to protect then the sides of the runway, a lot of that land falling on airport property. And as you can see, we cross over 3 jurisdictional lines, so that's why we've got to have the ordinance in all 3 jurisdictions. And really what it is a regulation of height. And as you look through the ordinance and you come to that 3rd table, you're going to see a lengthy list of different land uses by zone, A, B, C, D, E. Those A, B, C, D, E's correlate then to those zones defined in the airport ordinance itself, and they are primarily limiting height. And as you might imagine, that is our true concern. But the reason we've got land use listed in the table is so that when we move between the 3 jurisdictions, we don't have to contend with their individual zoning ordinances in so much as how you treat a single-family home or a multiple family residence or a business or an industry. What we're doing is we're trying to treat them all the same, A, B, C, D, E, and we're trying to do a good enough job with that very lengthy table to define all those uses so that whether you're in Blackhawk County unincorporated area, whether you're in Cedar Falls, whether you're in Waterloo, hopefully it's fairly easy to look at the map, find out what zone you're in, determine the heights. As you look at it, pretty standard ordinance in so much as that we've defined what's compatible and what's not. That's that table 3, and then AR is probably the biggest category. That's the additional review. and that's being placed on staff then to do the homework on that. In your packet, you may have received a checklist, which is a significant number of pages then that staff will use yes/no questions where they have to do the research on the use, research on the site, and then make the determination if it's compatible or not compatible. So the checklist then provides documentation for the file as per that particular use or particular request. So as a property owner were to come forward, make a request, then it would go to staff just like any normal rezoning. They would check then this ordinance, much like they do their zoning, their subdivision, their floodplain ordinance, and then carry it forward from there. And if there are additional reviews, then staff will perform those. If there are FAA permits needed, then obviously then that will have to go through the FAA. But then this is just providing a measure of local control or local support then for the particular regulations that are around this airport. Questions?
Is the current ordinance, the one dated back to the 50s, is that same mirrored all three entities, same ordinance?
Yeah, actually the one, it's interesting, Tom, the original that we found was one that, if you can imagine copy machines then, it was actually the paper was dark and the print was light colored, but all three jurisdictions had signed that particular
Same thing.
ordinance in the 50s. This is obviously an advancement technology and the work that's gone forward with regard to preparing the manual, which then supports the draft that came from DOT.
Are you aware if the other two, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, have passed this completely yet?
Yeah, I can give you a quick update if you'd like. We've gone through all three planning commissions, haven't had issue with either of those particular bodies. In Cedar Falls, the City Council has completed adoption of the ordinance in its entirety. In Waterloo, we're waiting to get on the agenda for the City Council. We're through their Planning Commission, and obviously we're through the Blackhawk County Planning Commission and here today. So hopefully we're just into the elected adoption.
Do you,
process.
I asked the question earlier, legal, do you see a need for us to just do one reading today or suspend the rules and do all three of them?
Certainly your protocol, Tom, whichever way you're comfortable with. I don't know how each jurisdiction will actually move it, if they'll move it doing all three or if they're just going to suspend the rules. In Cedar Falls, they're done. They had a hearing prior to the first reading. They ran the first reading, and then from there it was an item on the agenda, so they did conduct all three readings. And I don't know that there was a lot of public input at that point in time. It became an ordinance on the agenda, so I did not go back to those second and third meetings. I just went to the hearing into the first one. So.
Just a couple of quick things. I think there's one, maybe a language oversight in the ordinance on page 20, section 16, where it refused to otherwise use his property. I think it should probably be their property.
Sure.
Just a quick oversight there to change before we vote on it.
Which section, Chris?
That's section 16, second line.
Okay.
And then I see that this will create both an airport zoning board and an airport board of adjustments, and then we have to each entity appoints two people to those. I guess we have the one question I had in there. It said that Iowa code determined how long people served on those. I was wondering if you knew off the top of your head how long.
Yep.
those
I'll
appointments are
give
for.
you a little bit of front end on that if you're okay.
Sure.
There'll be two bodies. There'll be the airport zoning planning commission, the airport zoning board of adjustment. They'll operate like your planning commission and your board of adjustment under standard or conventional zoning. What we're going to do is those bodies will exist, but we're going to form the membership out of the existing planning commissions and boards of adjustment from the three jurisdictions. So you'll pull two members from your planning commission and two members from your board of adjustment. Could be the chair and vice chair at the time, or however you'd like to do it. And they'll serve those roles then, and there'll be two then from City of Waterloo and City of Cedar Falls, making six. And then the airport director will form the seventh. And so that gives you a little bit idea, and that comes straight from the Iowa Code. The terms are 5 and 6 years, as written in the code. I believe the commission is 5 and the Board of Adjustment is 6. I might have those reversed, but those are the way they set up. Obviously, if you're not on the planning commission and you opt to pull from your planning commission and I get off your county planning commission, then you may have to replace me.
And then existing structures and vegetation are grandfathered in. Do we know of?
Correct.
Do we know of any that are being grandfathered in that pose, as a threat or a risk?
Not aware of any specific. Obviously, when you're talking about height, some of the things that we have to contend with are stacks, towers, cell towers, wind generators, and some of those kinds of things. If those were to ever materialize, those would probably get to that maximum height. As you look at the map, you'll see that as we climb off of the runway, you're going to get up to 150 foot high, and higher is what we then become concerned with then when you look at like Area D and Area E.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to close the hearing.
Dewey?
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. This resolution to suspend the
Second.
rule.
Grant doesn't have the name.
Second it, I think Linda motioned it.
Thank you.
This is a resolution to suspend the rules requiring the Board of Supervisors to consider the vote and proposed ordinance at 2 prior meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Leyland?
Yes.
Little?
Yes.
Maxman?
Yes.
White?
Yes, resolution adopted. This is an ordinance adoption an ordinance adopting the Blackhawk County, Iowa Airport land use and height overlay as described in the above request to be considered the same as for adoption and adopted as ordinance number 140.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Leyland?
Yes.
Little?
Yes.
Maxman?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
White?
Yes, resolution adopted. Moving on to the 907 hearing, it is now 9:53. It's a motion to receive and place on file, or this is ordinance number 77-197, the Beck rezone. Motion to receive and place on file, proof of
So moved.
publication.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to waive the first
So
reading.
move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Motion to close the hearing after oral or written comments are received.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Grant, any oral comment or written comments?
No, sir.
The floor again.
Okay. Basically, the Planning and Zoning Commission, at its regular meeting on November 21st, 2017, reviewed the request to rezone 2.83 acres from A Agricultural District to AR Agricultural Residential District to allow for the construction of a single-family home. And the location is just simply south of 4633 Gilbertville Road for the BOAC rezone. It's basically just a request to rezone 2.83 acres from A Agricultural District to AR Agricultural Residential District in order to allow for a new single-family home. For the Planning and Zoning Commission, it was moved by Ridinghouse and seconded by Wertz to approve the request to rezone 2.83 acres from A Agricultural District to AR Agricultural Residential District in order to build a new single-family home. Motion to approve carried 3-1 with Nagel voting nay due to some trees being removed from the property. The immediate primary area consists of rural homes. The surrounding area is zoned AR, Agricultural Residential District to the south, and west, A Agricultural District to the east, and AR, Agricultural Residential District, and A Agricultural District to the north. The property in the surrounding area is identified as a residential on the future land use map, a component of the Blackhawk County Comprehensive Land Use Plan. The property in question is also not located in a special flood hazard areas designated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The applicant just simply wishes to rezone 2.3 acres from ADR in order to build one new single-family home on the property. The site also meets the lot size requirements for the AR Agricultural Residential District by being greater than 1.5 acres in size and wider than 150 feet. The entire site is located in a wooded area, and the applicant intends to minimize the number of trees that will be impacted and plans on replanting trees and vegetation post-construction. The applicant owns the property to the north and the west of the proposed rezoned area, and a 24-foot access easement will be granted to provide access to the property. The property to the west of the property is to be rezoned as well for sharing the existing driveway. The property to the west of the property that is being rezoned will be sharing the existing driveway with the property to be rezoned. The site also has a very low LISA score of 151, meaning that it has low agricultural value.
Any opposition at the meeting?
Oh, there wasn't any opposition at the meeting. I guess Commissioner Nagel, she was just
Sure.
kind of confused about the trees, but the applicant has intended to minimize the number of trees that will be impacted. In fact, there's some trees that are already kind of dead at the beginning of the property. And then once construction's been complete and everything else, then the applicant intends to replant additional trees to replace those that were lost.
Any comments from the technical review?
They just, basically, they just had questions about the easement, and they're just gonna share it, an existing driveway, the one to the south, so we'll just go straight back from the existing driveway.
Any concerns about proximity to 500-year flood?
The floodplain is starts all the way over kind of past where the trees are, west of Gilbert Road, so we're talking a good, probably about 1,000 feet even before the floodplain even starts.
I don't know if I can make a comment.
Oh,
Sure, come up here.
Come on up to the microphone, sir.
Okay.
State your name and address.
My name is Harold Bowick. I live on 4633 Gilbert Road currently. And my wife and I are attempting to build a home in the proposed rezoned area, a smaller home. We're both getting older. I'm going to retire soon. So the property also lies on an elevated area. It's a sand hill really that's pretty high up that even in the high flood, even my existing home here on 4633, even in the high flood years, we haven't had any water anywhere, even close to our basements or anything like that. So, and that is even higher up yet, probably, I would say probably at least 15 to 20 feet higher up. So there's no danger of that at all happening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
This is a resolution to suspend the rules requiring the Board of Supervisors to consider and vote on the proposed ordinance at 2 prior meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Little,
Yes.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted.
Motion to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Thank you. Any reports or information from the board? Mr. Magsman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Supervisor White. Would like to go over some of the activities that have taken place. And as I do, I'm certainly not going to be covering everything, but I appreciate all the work as the board does, what's taken place. I cover the engineer department first, and we had almost $3.2 million in road work, consisting of 2 bridges, 8 miles of asphalt paving, and we covered the bridge on Hammond Avenue, the bridge on West Dunkerton Road. We had 27th Street reconstruction. We had the overpass on 318, and we had Pointer Road East was taking place, and then the bridge crew on Waters Road. And I probably missed some there, but that's an overview of that. I did get information from the VA office, and they had a busy year. In the past 12 months, the office has received 3,000 plus veterans who have come to our office for service ranging from federal, state, and county benefits. We conducted 313 home visits and a little over 120 visits to nursing homes. We assisted with 117 veterans coming to the office seeking county financial assistance through rent, food, gas, clothing, and housing. And we fed 311 veterans through our food pantry and assisted in housing for about 40 homeless veterans throughout the year. Of these 3,000 veterans, there were 529 of them who were first-time visitors to the VA office and received did closing on about 60 to 70 property tax exemptions through the year. They built 7 chair ramps, and they had 14 gym membership for veterans with PTSD. We had 17 lunches in the park for veterans and their families. We had an average of 10 outreach events a month, speaking engagements, and sent out over 150 letters to widows of veterans who died in 2017. We provided Christmas gifts for about 235 veterans this year and about 90 widows. We sent in approximately 3,500 federal forms of application to assist veterans in getting their VA benefits through compensation for injury, illness, pensions due to their age and income and status in nursing homes, new enrollments in VA health care, burial benefits. We assisted 36 veterans to enroll in college through the GI Bill, submitted around 30 Iowa Trust Foundation applications to the Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs on behalf of veterans. We worked with 30 women veterans to file and seek assistance with the military sexual trauma events from the military, and about 50 new veterans who came forward with PTSD issues for the first time. Assisted another 100 in continuing their PTSD assistance this year. Started a coffee group for veterans with PTSD and developed a county resource guide that is being published for the first time in January and will be placed throughout the county. We are currently developing an app to place on all veterans' phones to guide them to seek support in the upcoming year. Our IT department, we had a upgrade to the New World Financial Management, HR, payroll, and application software, implemented security, received through the grant from the state of Iowa Security Office, upgraded GIS software, and worked with departments to develop GIS projects, replaced a storage device, doubling our storage capacity from the previous equipment, and posted videos of the Board of Supervisors' weekly meetings on the county website and YouTube. In our building projects, we working to complete the new jail security system, worked on consolidated communication remodeling, the courthouse basement remodel, a Union Road repair and painting of that shop, the generator replaced at Pinecrest now gives 100% coverage to the building, and the removal of the islands in the parking lot of Pinecrest. Started the courthouse chiller replacement, which should be completed by March of this year. They purchased new mowers and trailer to do in-house lawn care. Employees' parking lot was repaired, and they installed additional cameras covering the courthouse, working to move the county towards using alternate energy through the use of solar energy. The Conservation Department, we have a new director, Mike Hendrickson, and They are completing the remodeling of Hartman Reserve, which will provide enhanced education for children and adults. Completed restoration of conservation park facilities damaged in the 2016 flood. Conservation secured federal funding to help offset the damage to the Cedar Valley Nature Trail damaged in 2016 flood. We are nearing completion of the Blackhawk County Public Safety Radio System that will provide a national P25 compliance, improved radio coverage throughout Blackhawk County and adjoining counties with coverage of 95% with handheld radios and 99+% for in-vehicle radios, while providing simulcast with 7 microwave towers from the current 2 towers that we are utilizing, providing shared services with Lynn County, Johnson County that facilitate the ability to be backup dispatch centers for each county, eliminating the need to build and maintain a Blackhawk County backup dispatch E911 center. The current radio system was developed in the mid-90s and was one of the first counties to consolidate 4 E911 dispatch centers into one. We continue to take the lead in ways to share services between governmental entities. Our HR department, we have a new director, Debbie Bunger. He's working with all county elected offices, county boards, commissions, and county departments to provide human resource support, training for professional development, work to meet federal and state requirements. During the 2017, the Blackhawk County Health Department reviewed the public health accreditation guidelines and implemented a department timeline for public health accreditation. The health department emphasized public health accreditation process and it is seek to advance quality and performance within Blackhawk County Health Department. Accreditation standards define the effectiveness of all public health departments that seek to become accredited. National Public Health Department accreditation has been developed because it is desired to improve service, value, and accountability to stakeholders. Achieving public health accreditation is important to Blackhawk County Public Health, especially since we are in a climate whereby public health funds are being reduced. Our country view, the county is providing a high quality of service to approximately 134 individuals with complex physical and mental conditions. We continue to work with the private management care organizations, the MCOs, to cover the appropriate reimbursement for the services provided to Country View residents while controlling costs of operation. We want to thank everyone's effort, including our state legislatures, to see that Country View services cost reimbursement based on the complexity service provided to Country View residents. During fiscal year 2017, Blackhawk County general fund balance increased from about $1.1 million, and the total general fund balance is $18,100,000. Of this balance, $15,200,000 constitutes the unassigned fund balance, which is available for the spending at the government's discretion. It is the goal of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors to maintain an assigned general fund a minimum balance of 25% in operating expenses. For 2017, an unassigned general fund balance was 39.9% of operating expenditures, while the total general fund balance was 47.6 of the same amount. Based on the amended budget for 2018, the county general fund balance is expected to decline by $3.2 million in fiscal year 2018, mainly due to the planned use of reserves for Country View and other capital projects. Our projects assigned general fund balance is a percent of the operating expenditures will remain above our targeted goal at about 28.4%. This, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank all county employees, thank the elected offices, department heads for their work to provide services to Black Hawk County citizens and to continue to help control costs to provide these services. So thank you for the year that I served as chair, for all the work that everyone's done to make this a successful year, and also to provide services that are needed and move the county forward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
On behalf of the Black Hawk County Board of Supervisors, we'd like to present you with a plaque. This isn't the real one, Frank. This is, yeah. Yeah,
Craig's old one.
yeah, it's my old, yeah.
Imitations
Yeah,
are...
imitation, the real one to follow. The store was closed when she went to get it, so I want to thank you for your leadership over the past year, Frank. You take the lead on a lot of great projects this year. The tower project, I don't know how many hours you put in on that, but I know it's numerous, and the things you do with the coalition is outstanding work, and just your leadership is something that I'm proud to call you my partner. And I want to thank you for all you do for Honor Flight too, beyond the call of duty. You know, that's a real plus there. And again, I want to we want all the board wants to thank all the employees of Black Hawk County for their great job they've done this past year and will continue to do in the future. Anyone else got any comments? I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor, aye.